Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 oh. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA, Talk 1580, download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. I am in New York City, boss. Over Central Park in the the New York Sheraton, Times Square, with the National Action Network, Reverend Al Sharpton's conference, which is really a global conference. And we are connecting Los Angeles through KBLA coast to coast with our live show here in New York City, and we're touching base with people around the world. Our regular contributor at this hour is none other than Johnny J. Mack. Dr. Mack is a social entrepreneur, scholar practitioner with expertise in subject matter areas of peace. Lord knows we need that in the world. Conflict, that's exactly what's happening in the world, and the need for social change through movements. He has traveled extensively throughout the Americas, Africa, Asia, and the Middle East. The Middle East is in the news, working in fields of peace, development, conflict, and nonviolent social change. Dr. Mack's seminal work, After Confrontation, Then What? I am here in New York in part participating in a panel led by Dr. Mack with global leaders who will also be participating in that panel, discussing the state of our world and what's next in the World House. Johnny, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. And thank you very much for the invitation of allowing me to participate in this great panel at the National Action Network.
Jesse, it's great to be here, and thank you for accepting. We're really excited about our conversation tomorrow.
Johnny, can you lead us through your expectations of the conversation and the importance of it at this hour?
Well, the importance is multifaceted, Jesse. Of course, beginning with, as you mentioned, the setting is the annual convention of the National Action Network. It happens to be the 35th anniversary of the founding of the National Action Network by Reverend Al Sharpton. And so this 35th year of the convention is quite significant. It's also significant for the reasons that you just mentioned in terms of what is happening in the globe today. Much of the work of the National Action Network has been stateside, if you will, domestic. We have many problems here in the United States, civil and human rights. And the National Action Network, Jesse, has been on the forefront of responding, as you know, to the many challenges that confront people who have been marginalized in so many different ways. And so that's significant. But that significance, it reaches far beyond the United States. Many people around the globe follow the work of Reverend Al Sharpton and the National Action Network. And I represent Reverend Sharpton. I have the privilege of doing so. And the National Action Network internationally. And so we help to organize his reach and responses that come from around the globe to him and the National Action Network.
You know, Johnny, I love the lineage from Martin Luther King Jr. To Jesse Jackson, founding of Operation Breadbasket, the founding of Operation Push, an assignment given to Reverend Jesse Jackson, of course, that being Operation Breadbasket. When my father met Reverend Sharpton was but 13, I think, maybe 16 years old. And now my father is obviously deceased, and so I am here in New York to support the work of Reverend Al Sharpton because my father referred to Al Sharpton as one of his great students, if not his best student. In fact, called him disciple number one. And the extent to which that discipleship not only includes domestic concerns, but includes international concerns, which obviously Martin Luther King Jr. connected us to in his Beyond Vietnam speech, in the recognition that there was a relationship between our budget priorities at home and the resources that were being spent abroad to kill Black and brown people. The propitiousness, Johnny, of this moment matters, and the significance of this conference is growing in stature every single year. Dr. Mack?
It is indeed. And, Jesse, the work your dad did, when you talk about the lineage, is quite significant. And I mean, the international work itself, of course, much like Reverend Sharpton, your dad reset the bar, quite frankly, in his time in civil and human rights work, not only here in the United States, but around the globe. And I heard Reverend Sharpton say this morning, acknowledging this morning, your father mentoring him, and he now standing on the shoulders of your dad and of Martin Luther King Jr. And so this lineage is exceedingly important, and we're just privileged to be part of the work.
On the question, I know that we have just a minute before we come forward, and maybe I'll raise this after we do come forward. I think that oftentimes we are so limited in our thinking by the pain and the suffering that which happens domestically to us, that we don't see the role that our government is playing, not only domestically, but the role that it is playing internationally, that Dr. King put particular focus and emphasis on when he referred in that same speech that he could no longer accept the idea and had very difficult problems coming to the recognition and the reality that the greatest purveyor of violence in the world today is none other than mine own government. If there is any confusion about that, a very close attention, without the support of Congress, therefore without the support of the people, the President of the United States has unilaterally engaged. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. More with Dr. Johnny Mack when we come forward.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, host of The Voice of Reason, weeknights at 7 p.m. here on KBLA Talk 1580, with a personal invitation for you to join me and Insight.me as we present The Healing Box, live at Inglewood's world-famous Miracle Theater, Saturday evening, May 23rd at 7 p.m. Look, I understand your attachment style has been running your life like a rogue algorithm, and nobody has had the courage to press pause. Until now, Dr. Bakoya McCall and yours truly are curating a night where clinicians, spiritualists, and an all-star panel of Black woman healers like Dr. Shalonda Sunshine Crawford, Dr. Jashana Johnson, and spiritualist Precious McGill will join some amazing spoken word artists and the legendary comedian Louis Dix to diagnose, disrupt, and heal your relational wreckage in real time. Listen, bring your trauma. As a matter of fact, bring your baby mama. No, bring your testimony. And if you're still texting your ex at 2 a.m., baby, you're not just invited, you're the target demo. Tickets are moving fast, so grab yours at themiracleinglewood.com before your dating history gets flagged as a pre-existing condition. That's themiracleinglewood.com. We'll see you there Saturday, May 23rd at 7 p.m.
Time is up. The IRS is in full collection mode for 2025, issuing liens, levies, and garnishments to anyone who has a past tax debt or unfiled tax returns. Don't wait till it's too late. Your paycheck and bank accounts are at risk of being seized. Call now and stop the collection process today. If you're living check to check, no matter how much you're making, you still may qualify for the Fresh Start programs offered by the IRS to reduce or even eliminate your tax debt. It's just a 5-minute call to get your options, and it's free. If you owe back taxes, have years of unfiled tax returns, under computer audit, have a wager bank levy, or finally, just want to sleep better. Business or personal, call the experts at Republic Tax Relief while there's still time. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, and tough. This veteran-owned company has the fight you need to take on the IRS. Don't go at it alone. The call is free. Call their hotline number now, 800-259-4149. That's 800-259-4149. Find out if you qualify today. Call 800-259-4149 or go to republictaxrelief.com.
Did you know about 1 in 3 people with plaque psoriasis may also develop psoriatic arthritis, which causes joint pain, stiffness, and swelling? Does this sound like you? Listen to what it sounds like to be a million miles away. Tremfya guselkumab, taken by injection, is a prescription medicine for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who may benefit from taking injections or pills or phototherapy, and for adults with active psoriatic arthritis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Imagine being a million miles away. Explore what's possible. Ask your doctor about Tremfya. Visit tremfya.com or call 1-800-526-7736.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Quality drops the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. I'm live in New York at the National Action Network Conference, where one of the significant players in this conference since its inception for more than 35 years has been none other than Dr. Johnny Mack, who is essentially the International Affairs Director for the National Action Network and special advisor to Reverend Al Sharpton, who my father had tremendous faith in with respect to his global leadership as well as domestic leadership. Johnny, the President of the United States, since we last spoke, talked about wiping out a human civilization. And he balked at the idea, in large measure, not only because of concerns raised by activists here in the United States, but because poor people in Iran also surrounded their infrastructure, including bridges and desalination plants, as well as power plants, willing to sacrifice nonviolently their lives against the Goliath militaries of the United States and the Israeli government. A profound moment in the struggle for nonviolence globally, in my opinion, and it's not being talked about enough. Johnny Mack?
You know, Jesse, this is just incredible, isn't it? That we have the President of the United States to make such a statement, particularly in today's world. And, I'm reminded of Martin Luther King Jr.'s statement when it comes to challenges and issues like this. I'm sure you're familiar, and many listening to us today might be familiar with his statement that the ultimate measure of, he said a man, but of any person, a man or a woman, is not where he or she stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where they stand in times of challenge and controversy. And that's where we are today with the kind of rhetoric we're getting out of this administration and the president himself. And that statement applies to each and every one of us, Jesse. Where do we stand in these times of controversy and conflict? And what will be that ultimate measure that we will demonstrate and live up to? We have to stand for right. We have to stand for justice. We have to stand for peace. And that's what Dr. King stood for. That's what your dad stood for. It's what the work of Reverend Sharpton and the National Action Network stands for. And you yourself, Jesse, and the great work that you're doing.
Johnny, Major General Paul D. Eaton, USA retired, said this: wiping out an entire civilization is the very definition of genocide. Any order given to that effect must be refused by every service member up and down the chain, period. Quote, this is exactly what senators were talking about when they issued a video saying illegal orders must be refused. Now it may be time for service members to follow their recommendation. Johnny, that's very close to the kind of dissent within the ranks of the United States military that suggests the President of the United States, our civilian-based command, could be losing control of our non-civilian-based military, who could conceivably, let's hope it doesn't come to that, take matters into their own hand and disobey presidential orders. Johnny, a dangerous moment in American and human history.
It is a dangerous moment indeed. It may well, it certainly, when one thinks about the Cuban Missile Crisis, we used to say that that was probably the most dangerous moment in our modern history, in terms of the United States anyway. Where we are today, Jesse, arguably rivals that moment, and what our president is proffering, is suggesting in terms of the power of this country. We are reminded once again of King's statement about violence and the purveyor of that violence, and we have the personification of that in this presidency today. But once again, Major General Eaton's comment speaks to every single person in the military, as well as every citizen. So that once again goes back to King's statement that we have to stand up and prove to ourselves, this nation, and the world that we'll rise to the occasion and not let this kind of behavior stand. Many are talking about Article 25 of the Constitution, Jesse. And if at any time there was a time when Article 25 should be invoked, arguably, this is that time.
Yeah, the 25th Amendment is certainly something that the world has been reflecting upon, and certainly domestically, there have been a number of organizations, a number of leaders, including the governor of Illinois and other governors around the country and elected officials, who are calling for the invocation of the 25th Amendment. That is the amendment challenging the president's capacity to serve as commander-in-chief and to serve as president of the United States. It requires members of the cabinet to be in agreement. The president is without that kind of capacity. And I'm thinking in this moment, Johnny, that the people of Cuba, the president has already threatened them by suggesting they're up next. I'm also thinking that mineral-rich African nations who find themselves precariously no longer in a Cold War, but in a war over their own vital resources, may find it increasingly difficult to defend their interests on the global stage against the greed and the that is taking place here in the United States at the end of the barrel of the U.S. military. Johnny, your thoughts about the use of the U.S. military to shake countries down?
Well, it's not just the use of the military itself. One of the greatest concerns that I have, Jesse, is the quiet deals that are being made behind closed doors with this current administration. And sadly, Jesse, with many African states, this is why the work of the global diaspora is so very important. And one of the things we'll be discussing on our panel tomorrow, we have got to build that solidarity and a global polity among people of African descent that brings the kind of moral support to the people and the challenges confronting the people of Africa. The idea that we would use our military as a new phase of recolonizing Africa, particularly targeting rare earth minerals and the like, is just unconscionable. And it cannot stand. It should not stand. And we, ordinary citizens, have to do our part, particularly in the global diaspora, to ensure that these kinds of things don't stand.
Dr. Mack, what is our part against the backdrop of the quiet nature of the deals that are being cut? You know, my father used to ask the question, why don't African nations have significant African American lobbyists arguing their case on Capitol Hill and interests with corporate America? Why is it that, you know, these deals are taking place right before our very eyes, but Africans don't see African Americans as the go-between between the interest here in the United States, and by the way, might be the only leverage that African Americans have for domestic policy concerns, if in fact they are backed by a nation. For example, it's hard to imagine that European countries don't have European Americans advocating for their interests before the Congress of the United States, or Israel doesn't have the American-Israeli Political Action Committee arguing on behalf of their interest in the United States. Just like Black Jesus or White Jesus, we don't see in each other business partnerships that not only strengthen us domestically, but could also strengthen Africa within the continental United States. Why is that, John?
You know, Jesse, I wish I had the answer, but there's much to say here. There's much to argue here. You know, the idea of integration was a very important idea in the mid-20th century. Integration and ultimately assimilation became the target for success for many African Americans, even coming out of the height of the modern civil rights movement. And much of our leadership was lost, Jesse, to those efforts of integration and assimilation. And much of that continues today. It's one thing to fit in. It's one thing to go along, to get along. It's another thing to stand for what's right. I think that what beckons us today as a people is to stand for the right and to build that solidarity that I spoke of just a bit earlier. The problem is we've lost that sense of self as a people. And unless we find it, I think, Jesse, we will continue to be not leaders, but followers of someone else's wishes and desires. And that's what we're confronted with today.
Johnny, we have a clip that our producer is asking me to go to that speaks to some of these issues. Taz.
I want to bring in Firas Maksad, Managing Director for the Middle East and North Africa for the Eurasia Group. Also with us, Colonel Jack Jacobs, Medal of Honor recipient and MS Now military analyst. Colonel, what kinds of considerations are service members potentially having to make today?
Well, you have to distinguish between the considerations of people at the bottom of the food chain and those who are at the top and who are closest to the President of the United States. If you're at the bottom of the food chain, you need to do whatever you're told unless you're given an order that's immoral or illegal. And for those who are not in leadership positions, that means taking account of the tactical situation around them. And there are some things that are intuitively obvious to the casual observer you're not allowed to do, and who's ordered to do so, you not only can refuse, but you must refuse. However, if you're at the top, if you're one of the leaders with wearing stars, you're an advisor to the President of the United States, you're the leader of your service, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, you have an obligation to make sure that not only don't we do anything immoral or illegal, that we also don't do anything that's stupid. And the consideration of what is immoral or illegal is very much different at the top of the food chain than it is at the bottom. And if we're going to avoid doing something we should not do, the buck is going to stop with the people at the top of the military food chain.
Colonel, I also want to tell you about something that Kevin Barron, who I just spoke to, had to say. He's the former VP of Pentagon Press Association. He said he's never been more nervous for a night like this in his career. And Congressman Adam Smith just shared a similar sentiment with me. Take a listen.
I'm deeply worried about it. I basically share everything that your previous panel said. I mean, this is an unprecedented place for the United States to have gone. Republican sycophants in Congress who want to say, oh, come on, you can hit bridges, you can hit power plants because they're connected to the military, which theoretically is true, but that is not what the lunatic in chief has been.
Genocide is illegal. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. We talk about it in the World House over and over and over again since Johnny Mack and I have been on this program together for the last year. We have so much more to talk about, including cooperation between African governments, strengthening their relationship with black power brokers here in the United States, and using those power brokers who know the politics and the history of the United States better than any other group to bring about the kind of justice people of Africa and African Americans in the United States deserve. More when we come forward with Johnny Mack right here on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. First Lady Melania Trump says she had no knowledge of Jeffrey Epstein's sex crimes and denies any connection to him, including claims she was ever on his plane.
Donald and I were invited to the same parties as Epstein from time to time.
Speaking from the White House, she called the allegations false smears and says her legal team is demanding retractions from those spreading them, including political strategist James Carville. A pilot program aimed at boosting reading skills among D.C. students is showing strong results. Funded by a $16 million federal grant, the effort focused on low-income and Black students and helped reduce the achievement gap by about a third. And Alcorn State University is partnering with NVIDIA to bring AI into its curriculum, becoming the first HBCU in Mississippi to do so. The initiative aims to train thousands in AI, machine learning, and data science. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Did you know April is National Car Care Month? Head to your local Big O Tires for great deals like this. Now, get a synthetic oil change starting at only $39.99, including tire rotation. Plus, get a free multi-point vehicle inspection, too. Find your nearest Big O at BigOTires.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Lakers legend Michael Cooper is the new men's basketball coach at Cal State LA. The NBA Hall of Famer was introduced Thursday morning at a press conference inside the school's arena. Cooper replaces Jim Saya, who retired after 10 seasons. First head coaching job for the 69-year-old Cooper since 2009 when he was leading the WNBA LA Sparks. Cooper played all 12 of his NBA seasons with the Lakers and helped them win 5 championships. The UCLA women's basketball program will receive $1.4 billion in NCAA revenue distribution from the women's basketball tournament. The $1.4 million includes a $75,000 bonus for winning the national championship. Most of the tournament income is generated by gate revenues and the 8-year, $920 million broadcast deal the women's tournament has with ESPN. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Did you know about 1 in 3 people with plaque psoriasis may also develop psoriatic arthritis, which causes joint pain, stiffness, and swelling? Does this sound like you? Listen to what it sounds like to be a million miles away. Tremfya guselkumab, taken by injection, is a prescription medicine for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who may benefit from taking injections or pills or phototherapy, and for adults with active psoriatic arthritis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Imagine being a million miles away. Explore what's possible. Ask your doctor about Tremfya. Visit tremfya.com or call 1-800-526-7736.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
In a world full of noise, one station keeps it real. KBLA Talk 1580, where the conversation goes deeper, the voices sound like yours, and the issues that matter most to our community take center stage. Progressive, powerful, unapologetically us. Whether you're driving through the city or tuning in from your home or office, join the public square. KBLA Talk 1580. Your home for talk that enlightens, encourages, and empowers. Listen live on our free KBLA 1580 app, on our website at KBLA1580.com, or on your radio dial at 1580 AM.
Unapologetically progressive.
From station to stage, LA Metro connects you to the artistic heart of Los Angeles. Celebrate this National Arts Month with Metro, exploring galleries, theaters, and cultural spaces across the city. Art isn't just where you end up, it's how you get there.
I need a little range, step to the range.
There's a new flavor in town, the Jalapeno Ranch Club at Chick-fil-A. With that juicy Chick-fil-A original spicy or grilled chicken, a buttermilk ranch bun, candied bacon, pepper jack cheese, and jalapeno ranch sauce. It's got big ranch vibes with a little heat. Chick-fil-A's new Jalapeno Ranch Club, available for a limited time only. Order ahead on the Chick-fil-A app.
Paid for by government. The 1986 to 2021 United States Silver Eagle, the first ever U.S. silver dollar minted in 99.9% pure silver and is the best-selling coin in the world. These original and historic silver dollars have ceased production forever. They will never be minted again. For a limited time only, full pound bags of original U.S. government-struck silver dollars are being released to the public. You can own a full pound of original U.S. silver dollar coins featuring Lady Liberty and the heraldic eagle, never to be struck again. Guarantee. Call now to secure original United States Silver Eagles by the pound. The first U.S. silver dollars ever to be struck in 99.9% pure silver. Plus, receive a free bonus, an American Collector's Pack valued at over $40 and free shipping with every order. Call 1-800-560-6468 now to secure your full pound bag of United States Silver Eagle coins before they are gone. That's 1-800-560-6468.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson. Looking forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. This is Thought-Provoking Thursdays, and we are in the World House with Dr. Johnny Mack, a man who really needs no introduction. And I have so many thoughts that I want to share with Johnny Mack in this hour that I'm not going to give the standard introduction of Johnny Mack. I just want to share with you that I don't know many people who have dug as deep into the philosophy and the thinking of Martin Luther King Jr. as Johnny Mack are still living. So I'm grateful that he is a regular contributor right here on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Dr. Mack, welcome forward to the show.
Jesse, it's just a pleasure being here. Thank you.
Johnny, can you share with us first and foremost, before we begin our continued discussion, the ways in which we can support your organization?
Well, Jesse, our website is theworldhouseproject.org. Again, theworldhouseproject.org. houseproject.org. And there you can find about our work, and you can make a tax deductible contribution.
Johnny, I dream of a world where the South African government, the Botswana government, the government of Uganda, the government of the Congo, the government of Mozambique, the government of Angola, sub-Saharan African countries, all say to the world that if you want to do business with sub-Saharan Africa, we will only do business with you through MAC Consulting. Now, don't respond to that yet, because it's Johnny Mac Consulting. As opposed to these African countries looking for lobbyists in Washington and lobbyists at big firms, empowering Johnny Mac in negotiations over critical minerals, over that which the people of Africa need to extract from an American deal, which includes schools and seed and agricultural products and health care and building housing and building roads, not just from mineral mines to the coast, but basic roads and sidewalks in basic communities. That empowering Johnny Mac domestically, and I use you as the example, means that 5 Black Talk-owned radio stations in the United States call Johnny Mac and say, listen, I know you're doing business with our brothers and sisters in Africa, and you spread the love to Black Talk Radio and provide sponsorship to Black Talk Radio. As a result of those initiatives, share with the American people in the Black community why they can vacation in Uganda, make investments and buy homes in Uganda, strengthen Africa, and at the same time build bridges between our communities on the main continent with our communities in the United States. I don't know why it takes so long to get to the basic idea that we ought to be representing Africa and that Africa ought to have an interest in the diaspora and those communities in our country that are disconnected from Africa. You better believe that European countries have European representatives in Washington. They're using European law firms, lobbying Congress and state legislatures to bring their businesses to states. And we are finally included in those dynamics. But in effect, it's because they relate to a land based in Europe that relates to their interest here in the United States. But theoretically, our land base in Africa does not relate to Black America that way. Johnny, why is that?
Well, Jesse, we're a product of slavery, of course. And part of that product included how we developed as a social group, educationally, economically. We did not build the institutional infrastructures until the mid-20th century. And this is a really important point, Jesse, and I hope I articulated well. We were denied education and, so many opportunities for the development of our community. But many communities in the mid-20th century, whether it was in Atlanta or Tulsa or, Nashville, developed businesses, radio stations, newspapers, hospitals. We had an alternative social infrastructure that provided opportunity economically, professionally, culturally. We lost that spirit of social institution building. We gave those up. We sold them off. We were also robbed, and many of those communities and institutions were burned down. I'm thinking of Tulsa, Oklahoma. But we've lost the spirit, Jesse, of building our own for our own. and too many other, or most others, specific ethnic groups did not lose that spirit and were not excluded from those opportunities. And, you know, it's not the only reason why we don't have that connection, but it is a major part of what is a very complex problem with particularly African Americans, but the diaspora in general.
I think we need to take a quick leap to the future, and we need to do it very quickly. And the reason I say that is because it is one thing to negotiate with Apple or Microsoft for a Negro franchise. By the way, Apple stores are all owned by the company, so this is exaggeration, of course. But it's another thing to say that I represent the country of the Congo, or I represent Uganda. And I also represent the lithium interests on the ground in the Congo and in Uganda. And you can't power your iPhone unless you remove lithium from the ground in the Congo. And in exchange for that, as Congolese, we'd like 2 seats on the board of Apple. We'd like to make sure that not only are you using our law firms and our accounting firms, but that you're building cell towers across the continent, that you're making iPads available in urban schools, that our schools are being prioritized in the AI economy, and not just schools on, let's say, the north side of Chicago, who might be taking advantage of growing economies. In other words, this is a game of leverage. With Africa can do for us. There is so much more for Africa that we can do for them with that basic partnership. Some of us thought that that partnership would occur through the Africa Growth and Opportunity Act. When I was in Congress, I believed and sponsored and authored what I called the HOPE Bill, Human Rights Opportunity Partnership and Empowerment Act, because the history of Africans being exploited by American trade policy was not new. And we needed a fundamentally different approach that included the empowerment of Black businesses in the United States for that purpose. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. More when we come forward on KBLA with the great Dr. Johnny Mack at the National Action Network Conference. When we come forward.
For a job today, baby's gotta eat, gotta make a living. No luck getting on the gravy train, on the glad you're here. This generation gotta make a better vibration so that the next generation will really care how they relate. This generation gotta show the next generation so that the future generations will have better relations. Never, never down. Never, never down. Yeah, never, never down. Unwed mother on the gravy train, looking for a better life for her children. Disappearing fathers, where are you? Your creator is watching you. A young man wanna be a big success. Don't sell misery. Try selling freedom. Try selling freedom. Yeah. Freedom to dream. And freedom to sing. Oh, yeah. This generation gotta make a better vibration so that the next generation will really care how they relate.
Successfully, and to help them maintain a healthy relationship with their romantic partner. They offer a mentorship support group for formerly incarcerated men. 10 Toes In teaches its Intimate Relationships 101 curriculum at male prisons throughout the state of California. They host sister support group meetings for women who are intimately involved with incarcerated and formerly incarcerated men. 10 Toes In is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. To access their services or make a donation, please visit them online at 10toesin.org or find them on Facebook or Instagram. They are healing lives through relationships. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. My son loves to fly kites, but my active psoriatic arthritis can sometimes hold me back. Now with Skyrizi to treat my skin and joints, I'm ready to go. Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults, helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi today and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZI to learn more.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Download to see if you qualify. Not all customers will qualify. Transfer fees may apply. No Albert subscription required. Albert is not a bank. Albert Instant Loans are issued by FinWise Bank, member FDIC. Not an actual client. Terms apply.
Kylie, what's wrong? I just got hit with a car repair bill. I'm behind on rent, and I feel like I can never save any money.
Have you tried the Albert app? Albert is your financial assistant, helping you find ways to save and create custom budgets to actually grow your money. Plus, you can get up to $10,000 for big expenses or advance up to $1,000 fast when you need cash right away.
Albert can get me up to $10,000?
Exactly. Albert spots you in a pinch and helps you grow your money in the long run.
I'm downloading Albert right now.
Download the Albert app and use promo code BOOST to borrow up to $10,000 for whatever you need. The Albert app helps you budget better and save more money so you reach your financial goals faster. Download the Albert app right now and use promo code BOOST to borrow up to $10,000. Use code BOOST to borrow up to $10,000.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Folly, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me.
I'm Jesse
Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me.
Are live in New York National Network Conference. It's the 35th anniversary under the leadership of Reverend Al Sharpton, who soon will be moving their official headquarters of the National Action Network to a firehouse in Harlem, New York, where he's not only naming it the House of Justice, he's naming it the Jesse Jackson Senior Workshop, out of honor of the late Reverend Jesse Jackson, whose organization, Operation Push in Chicago, was named the Martin Luther King Jr. Workshop in the early 1970s. And consistent with that lineage, Jackson family is extremely grateful to Reverend Sharpton for his willingness to name the official headquarters of the National Action Network in honor of the work of the Reverend Jesse Jackson. Johnny, thank you for being on our program today, and I'm very much looking forward to our panel tomorrow.
Jesse, it's great to be here. Thank you very much, and thank you for agreeing to join this important panel tomorrow.
Johnny, there's so much that we oftentimes never get the opportunity to discuss, but I do want to raise this concern with you. So many of our conferences this summer will, my father would say, essentially be issuing resolutions in the form of panels and in the form of speeches, which are essentially, whereas we're mad at Donald Trump, whereas we are upset with MAGA, whereas we want the war to end in the Middle East and the genocide against the Palestinian people to stop, whereas, for good measure, the genocide against African Americans in our own country to cease and desist immediately before 9 o'clock tonight. Whereas. But then Dad would always raise the question, Johnny, I want you to take your time with this, and you can include it in your article to the top of the end. And that is this. Dad would raise the question, at what point in time as a community are we going to get to the therefore? Therefore, we are highly resolved that by 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, we're going to fight for justice and end racism and put a time limit on this thing. By 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, we are going to register every Negro in America who's unregistered to vote by 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Therefore, we promise that we're going to fight before the Congress session is over for health care for all Americans, and we anticipate in achieving that. Therefore, these are the things we're going to do, and put a time frame on it. Johnny, at this critical hour, 35th anniversary of the National Action Network, I'm sure Reverend Sharpton and this organization, of which I am a member and I support, are sharpening the pencil on the great therefores of this hour. Johnny, work with us both domestically and internationally on the therefores of where we are as a movement. Yes,
The therefores, and then now then let it be resolved. But
right there.
There is the resolve, the commitment to Jesse, we can't leave out either. But therefore obviously is the conclusion of the matter. These are the things, the non-negotiables that we must do. They are the critical triggering points. They are the essentials, right? And we as a people have to determine what those are beyond conversation. And they're basic. They're not rocket science. They are drawing red lines and saying we will not go beyond this red line. Jesse, I don't know what those red lines are. We as the people have to collectively in our churches, in our social institutions, Jesse, around our kitchen tables, we have to take seriously the challenge that we're faced with. We can't look to others to do this for us. And we've been discussing this as a people for a very, very long time. Yes. But what is the resolve? The resolve has to be for our children and for our children's children.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Johnny, I can't wait to spend time with you tomorrow, and I'm so looking forward to it. More when we come forward on KBLA from the National Election Network. I'll see you guys tomorrow right here in New York.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.